Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yashar's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But first and foremost, as always, you know how we do. We give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Rakah, Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women. All praises to you too. And the camps and the solo brothers going out there, making videos, edifying the body, pushing the truth according to scriptures. All praises. Now, what I'm going to do is this is just a quick touch on this lesson I want to quickly do is my opening verse. I want to start with Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 38, where it tells you that the just shall live by faith. Now, I think about 2 Sabbaths ago, on a lesson I did, I kind of touched on that verse at the very end. Just as my time was running up, I kind of touched on that at the end. But I want to go into it a bit more on this lesson, showing that the just must live by faith. Because the Christian church, all you do is push that you got to live by faith. You got to live by faith. Yes, you do have to have faith. But in order to have faith, you have to be just according to the scriptures. And that's where I want to go, to show you what it means to be just in order to live by faith. Because now that's the faith, that's the works and the faith. That's what that verse is showing you, that you have to have works in order to show and prove your faith, which is something that you don't have. You know, Christian church and all the followers of Christianity and of these other break off from the Roman Catholic Church, i.e. Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, all those religions, even Buddhism, the ones that read the Quran, Muslims, all them, those all break-offs. You may claim you have faith, but you don't, because you've got to be just. So you've got to be having the works in order to prove your faith. And that's where I'm going today. So I'm going to run through this quick. I mean, it shouldn't be a long lesson, but I want to just bring some clarity to this verse. So we're going to break this verse down, starting with Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 38. We're going to break that down because I want to show you that, if you're not just, or if you don't have works, you definitely don't have faith. It's just that clear and that simple. But what we're going to do, or should I say what I'm going to do, which, we as a body, we're going to go through the scriptures to prove that. So I'm not just going to say that and leave it there. I'm not going to read one scripture like the Christian church do and then expound on it for half an hour and then say, yeah, you see, that's what it means. I'm going to bring precepts to prove that point. Yeah? So, without further ado, I've got my timer and I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Boom, we're away. Let's go straight to my first scripture. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 38. And it reads, "Now the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him." That's the whole verse. Now, Paul, who wrote this, and you know what? If I remember correctly, it was Paul. But if I'm not, just correct me. Hit me up with just a correction if I'm not correct. Just put it on the comment board, and that'll be fine. But I think it was Paul, if I remember correctly. Now, he said, "Now the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back," if you turn back from being just, he says, "my soul shall have no pleasure in him." Now, where did he get that from? Now, Because one thing about Paul, he don't precept himself. So you won't find him like precepting himself in the book of Acts or Corinthians or Colossians. He may say the similar thing, but that's not where he got that from. He got all his teachings are from the Old Testament. That's it in a nutshell. Now, this is where he got that from. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. Listen to this. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4, and it reads, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." That's where he got that from Habakkuk 2 and verse 4. Yeah? Now, we're going to jump back to Hebrews chapter 10. But what we're going to do, we're going to jump up 2 verses. I want to read Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 36. Watch this. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 36, and it reads, "For ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of the Most High, ye might receive the promises." Now, that's why when you jump down now the 2 verses where I started, when he said, "Now the just shall live by faith," because showing you that you must do the work. So you must have patience, yeah? And that's where your faith comes in. Because like even when you go to work, some people get paid monthly, some people get paid weekly, yeah? But you have to do the work first. There's no employer I know that pays you before you've done the work. Because say he pays you your wages, yeah? Now you've got your wages. You might not turn up for work. Or you might do the work shabby or not right, which is not worthy of your wages. This is why you must do the work first in order to get payment. Most High is no different. That's why he said, "The just shall live by his faith." You've got to be just, keeping the commandments and believing that he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. You know, that's it in a nutshell. Now, the scripture did say in Hebrews chapter 10 verse 38, "The just shall live by faith." Now, let's see what it means to be just, so you don't think I'm taking it out of context, because I'm sure some Christian will be screaming at the screen right now saying, "No, brother, you're not reading that right." All right, let's see what it means to be just in order to live by faith. I'm going to first take Genesis chapter 6 verse 9. This is Noah, yeah? Now watch this, yeah? Genesis chapter 6 and verse 9, and it reads, "These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and Noah walked with the Most High." Now you see, the Bible just showed you that Noah was a just man and perfect. When you go into the scriptures, the law of the Lord is perfect. Psalms, Psalms chapter, what is it again? Psalms chapter 19 verse 7. I'll put that on the screen, yeah? Showing that the law of the Lord is perfect. So it's showing you that Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, showing that Noah kept the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High perfectly. So what that's showing you. Now, we're going to jump to the book of Hosea, chapter 14 and verse 9, because I want to prove all things. So I'm not accused of taking that verse, Hebrews chapter 10 verse 38. So I'm not accused of taking that out of context or giving the wrong understanding. Now watch this. Hosea chapter 14 verse 9, and it reads, "Who is wise? And he shall understand these things. Prudent, and he shall know them. For the way of the Lord," which is Yahweh, for the ways of Yahweh are right, and the just shall walk in them, but the transgressors shall fall therein." Showing you that, see, walking in his ways, keeping, the things that the Most High said we should keep. That's what makes you just, yeah? the law of Moses, keeping them without animal sacrifice, because obviously now we have the Mashiach Yahushai, which that's where grace comes in. But that's what makes you just, by keeping the commandments. Now watch this, yeah? I'm going to jump to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18, verses 5 to 9. Watch this. Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 5, and it reads, But if a man be just, hear that? But if a man be just, and do that which is lawful and right, verse 16. So here, verse 6, not verse 16, verse 6. And has not eaten upon the mountains. So he's not gone into other doctrines, of the other nations. And has not eaten upon the mountains, neither has lifted up his eyes to the idols. So he hasn't worshipped other gods and bowed down to idols. Lifted up his eyes to the idols of a house of Israel, because that's what they doing. That's what they did, especially the northern kingdom was the first to get cut off for, worshipping idols, Watch this, Neither has defiled his neighbour's wife. So you haven't gone in unto your neighbour's wife and commit adultery. Though, see, so far, everything that I've mentioned are in the law, But listen to this. Neither has come near to a menstruous woman. So you haven't, gone in or near unto a woman that's on her menstruous cycle. Verse 7 of Ezekiel chapter 18. And has not oppressed any. So you haven't oppressed any, like how we are being oppressed today by the other nations. But, listen to this, but has restored unto the debtor his pledge. So you've made a pledge, you've borrowed something, you've restored it unto the debtor, because you pledged that you would when you borrowed it, Watch this. Has spoiled none by violence. So you haven't, taken spoil of anybody by going in, robbing them by violence, attacking anybody and taking of what doesn't belong to you. Listen to this. Has given his bread to the hungry. So you've fed the poor of your people. You've given the bread to the hungry, and has covered the naked with a garment. So you've covered the naked with a garment. So i.e. somebody could be naked. You've given him clothing, or he's been destitute of the truth, and you've given him the law, statutes, and commandments. That's another way of covering someone's nakedness, by showing him the way they should walk according to Yahushai, who taught us through Yahweh, and, you've given him the laws, showed him how to walk. So you've covered him, his nakedness, Verse 8 of Ezekiel 18. He that has not given forth upon usury. So I've lent somebody something and I don't want extra in return. I don't want it back with extra or with interest. Just give me back what, you've taken. I've lent you a pot. I haven't asked for a pot and a spoon. You've given me back the pot I lent you. That's what that's saying. Neither have taken any increase, same thing. So I've not taken any increase. That has withdrawn his hand from iniquity. So all iniquity, I've taken myself away from. Maybe around people that's, you can see what they're up to, that's not right in the Most High's eyes. Told them they don't want to hear, they still want to go do wickedness. I've withdrawn myself from them. Watch this. Where we withdraw ourselves from iniquity, has executed true judgment between man and man. So I've dealt right with my brothers and my sisters. True judgment, that I've done. I've given them honesty according to thus saith Yahweh. Verse 9. Has walked in Yahweh's statutes, and have kept Yahweh's judgments, to deal truly He is just. Hear that? So you've done all that. That's what makes you just. He is just. He shall surely live, saith Yahweh power. So you see, that's what makes you just. Those are all that you'll find in the law. The same law that the Christian church tells you is done away with. Yeah? That's what makes you just. Listen to this. Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. That's the northern and the southern kingdom. Yeah? Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just. Yeah? The king that comes unto us, which is Yahushua, he is just. He never broke any of the laws, statutes, commandments. He walked perfectly with the Most High. He is just. And having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt, the foal of an ass. Now, that's just, talking about Yahushua there. But I use them verses to show you that that's what just is. So when we go back to Hebrews chapter 10 verse 38, it says, now the just shall live by faith. So if you are the just, which I just explained now with them precepts, what it means to be just, that's how you live by faith. Yeah? Now, it also says in Hebrews chapter 10 verse 38, it says this, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. Now, meaning if you draw back from being just, that means you don't have faith, yeah? It's simple as that. So you cannot draw back from the laws, yeah? So you've got to be doing them. Now watch this. I'm just going to quickly jump to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 58 to 62. Just watch this, yeah? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 58, and it reads, if thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy power. Verse 59, then Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long countenance, and sore sickness, and of long countenance. So you see, these are all the things that has come upon my people, our people, because we have turned from the Most High. Verse 60, watch this, of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. So everything that the diseases that were in Egypt will come upon us as a people. Which, you look at us, they have, yeah? All the diseases moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Verse 61, also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahweh bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. Verse 62, and ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of Yahweh thy power. And that's why there's a lot of sickness in our neighborhood. That's why they push Planned Parenthood in our neighborhood. That's why we are being murdered, at alarming rates by the police and, by our own people and the other nations, So all these things are coming upon us because why? We, are not keeping the law, statutes, commandments. Worse if you have known it and you have drawn back. Remember, as the scripture says, his soul will abhor you and he'll have no pleasure in you once you draw back. Because you got to remember, Hebrews 11 and 6 says this, yeah? Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6. without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High must believe, see, that's where your faith, you must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So you see, there we go. Now, that's the reward you'll get for when you seek him, keeping his laws, statutes, commandments. That's the reward you get. You must have faith that there is light at the end of the tunnel, but you mustn't lose your patience, because there are a lot of brothers that has lost patience and gone right back into the world. It's going to be worse for them, because it's better you had not known righteousness, which is the law, statute, commandments, than to have known it and turn from it and go back into the world. It's going to be worse for you. Wow, can't believe I'm running out of time soon. Now watch this. I'm going to jump to the book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 61 into 62. Listen to this. Luke, chapter 9, verse 61, and it reads, "And another also said, Yahushai, we will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house." So this is when Yahushai, called, people to join him, disciple. And one of them said, you know what? Yeah, I will follow you, but let me just go and bid my family farewell. Now listen to what Yahushai said unto him. This is Luke chapter 9, verse 62. "And Yahushai said unto him, No man having put his hand to the plough and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High." And that's an important thing. So once you've found this truth and you grab hold of it, do not turn from it, because it will be worse for you than those that have never known the truth. Because you got to remember, those that have never known it are going to be judged and they're going to get destroyed. But you who have known and turned back, it's going to be worse. It's better that you didn't know than to know and turn back. Because watch this. You remember what happened to Lot's wife when they came out of Sodom and Gomorrah? She looked back, meaning the ways of where she came out, the ways of Sodom and Gomorrah was still in her. She missed it. And remember, as the scriptures showed, she looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt. Watch this. Genesis chapter 19, verse 26, and it reads, "But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt." Now you see, I'm going to precept that with this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 6 into 7. Listen to this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, verse 6, and it reads, "When the ungodly perish, she delivered the righteous man, who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities." Now here's the point here, verse 7, of whose wickedness even to this day the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never came to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt is a monument, of an unbelieving soul. Now you see, that precepts the Genesis, showing that she was unbelieving. So she looked back, boom, she became a pillar of salt. Now, I'm out of time. I hope you got something with that. This is Yasharallah. We out.